Do you know what's insane? Clannad After Story began airing 7 months after season 1 ended. Even by today's standards, most animes take around a year between the ending of the last season and the start of the next. To put it into context, of the big animes of the last few years, Jujutsu Kaisen had a 20-month gap between the end of season 1 and the release of season 2. That is 2.5 years nearly. My Hero Academia had nearly a year gap between each season. And the same with Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer, which had 2 years between season 1 and season 2, and 1 year between season 2 and 3, and season 3 and 4. Of course, I know they didn't wait until the end of the previous season to start animating the next. Even so, the fact that it takes a year to animate 4 to 8 hours worth of content is fucking crazy. So the fact that After Story, a 24 episode season, aired just over half a year after the previous 24 episode season had finished airing means Kyoto Animation had enough faith in adapting Clannad that they greenlit, funded, and animated the entire second season before they had seen the return on investment or popularity or the success of the first season, or even started before the first season had even started airing. I wish we still had animation studios that had that much faith in anime today. But due to our attention spans and 12 episode series and how fast anime is now cranked out, we never will. If Clannad came out today, it would be 4 seasons probably. 12 episodes apiece, released over 4 to 5 years. If Clannad came out today and the first season was a 12 episode series, it would never get a second season. The first 2 episodes are just set up, and no one would fund the second half. Thank God this came out in the past when it did, and thank God we have Clannad. The overwhelming amount of series nowadays are 12 episode series. Of course, there are large reasons for this with the proliferation of anime over the last 2 decades. I still just think it's crazy and amazing that Kyoto Animation had that much faith in Clannad. But because we've already had Clannad as my anime of the year, I can't have After Story as my anime of the year 2008. So, what else came out in 2008? Well, there was a certain Victorian era British anime that came out which led every British anime fan for the next 2 decades having to constantly remind the rest of the world, Brits don't actually sound like that. We don't all sound like upper class snobby British fuckers. We sound like this. But to be fair, most Brits look at anime and think, that must be what Japan is like, so fair's fair. Also, was Black Butler actually massively popular? Or was it just the fandom was really, really, really vocal about their love for the series? Because, I don't know. I remember hearing back in the day that Black Butler was absolutely massive and everyone loved it. But looking at the statistics, it was a fine series. I think it just kind of became the anime of the year and everyone was like, well, if we like it, everyone must like it, or this small group of people are so vocal, they must be representative of the entire anime community, so Black Butler must be the biggest anime ever, even though it's only a small minority of the group, and most people are talking about other great animes like Clannad. We also had Yugioh 5D, which I would argue is the best Yugioh series, and I once watched the entire series in one sitting. It was the first time I'd ever stayed up all night, and was the first time I discovered that I couldn't just go back to sleep the next night and restore my circadian rhythm to what it was my entire life, excluding the last fucking night. No, my sleep schedule was fucked for the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's amazing. You can spend months, maybe even years trying to get into a good sleep schedule, and your body's like, maybe if the stars align, and it's the right month and Jupiter is rising, this will work 64% of the time. But you stay awake all night, one time, and your body decides, yep, okay, this is my new permanent sleep schedule. Man, the human body is weird. We also had Code Geass R2, Soul Eater, Spice and Wolf, Toradora, Kanokon, The Familiar of Zero, A Certain Medical Index, okay, admittedly, some series were better than others, come out in 2008. Soul Eater was fine. I never got the hype around it. I watched the entire series and I didn't care enough about the story to pay attention. So the majority of the time watching the latter half of the series consisted of me going, who is that person again? Why are they doing that? What was that thing? Was it important? Am I supposed to care about that? Oh, I think I was. Okay. Maybe it's great. I just could never get into it. Spice and Wolf was a fine series, like a strong 6. Season 2 absolutely slaps though. That's how I learned about crypto and stocks. I'm not joking. Kanokon was a series that, again, my only defense is this was the time where I would watch anything anime. If you put anime in front of me, I would watch it and say it was a masterpiece. So I watched this entire series and, yeah. The same with The Familiar of Zero and A Certain Magical Index. Though I remember The Familiar of Zero actually being pretty good, and I just kind of forgot to continue watching it because I was watching so many animes. But A Certain Magical Index, that series was shit, I think. I know I watched it, I don't remember much though. I remember watching it back in the day and just thinking, even back then, why am I watching this series? I don't actually enjoy it. I think it's kind of shit, but it's anime, so I guess I have to like it. Toradora, much like Clannad, was a series I found in high school. And much like Clannad again, I related to the story of the series, because I had just hit my growth spurt and was so pale even Slender Man was jealous. And I learned that my natural resting face was a resting bitch death stare. And I absolutely love Toradora. I'm a simp for romance slice of life.
Keep your damn hands off him!
Which is why when I saw Ryuji's story, I couldn't help but relate to him.
And once again, I've got to convince everyone I'm not some sinister dirtbag.
But I think I have to give Anime of the Year to Geass R2, because it is a series I still think about and theorize to this day. Not because of the ending. I know we are never getting an answer to that. And I think that's good. And I think it's cool that there's no definitive answer or ever will be. The thing I still think about and theorize about is the goddamn mask. Geass has this whole thing around masks. There's a ton of scenes in R2 specifically revolving around masks. But there's one scene in one episode that shows one certain mask that to this day I still think about because of the massive ramifications to such an item existing in the Geass universe, but also in the 17 years since the series release, no one has ever made a video on how this mask does not make sense or why it exists. I should really get around to making that video. Amazing series though. The story holds up, the animation is beautiful, the message behind the series is an interesting discussion topic, and the ending is almost perfectly written, excluding that one thing. I think R2 was a solid 8.5, maybe even a close 9. Check out this video to hear about my Anime of the Year 2009.